Commander Zephyr of the Galactic Coalition had visited 73 worlds in his 3 centuries of service. He had witnessed the warrior cultures of the Krolliks, observed the tactical brilliance of the Viridian war minds, and studied the disciplined legions of the Thorian Empire. Nothing, absolutely nothing, had prepared him for what he would witness at the human military academy on Earth. The invitation had come as a diplomatic gesture. Humanity had recently joined the Galactic Coalition, and the elder species viewed them as primitive newcomers, enthusiastic, but ultimately unremarkable. Commander Zephyr accepted the tour with the bored courtesy of someone fulfilling a tedious obligation. Lieutenant Eva Martinez greeted him at the academy gates with a crisp salute. She was young by human standards, perhaps 25 solar cycles, with dark hair pulled into a severe bun and eyes that seemed to catalogue every detail of his crystalline exoskeleton. "Commander Zephyr, welcome to the United Earth Military Academy. I'll be your guide today," she said, her tone professional and warm. Zephyr's translator rendered her words with precision, though it struggled with the underlying emotion in human speech, something his species had never quite mastered. "I am honored, Lieutenant Martinez. Please, proceed with the standard demonstration." What followed shattered every assumption Zephyr held about these newcomers. Eva led him first to the physical training grounds, where cadets and barely adults were running an obstacle course that would challenge seasoned Krolliks warriors. They climbed walls twice their height, crawled through mud beneath electrified wires, and carried wounded comrades across treacherous terrain. What disturbed Zephyr wasn't their capability, but their attitude. They were laughing. Humans train under discomfort, he asked Eva, his vocal synthesizer crackling with confusion. "We train under worse than what we expect in the field," Eva replied. "The Academy's motto is train hard, fight easy. We believe that if you can endure hell in training, war becomes manageable." Manageable. The word echoed in Zephyr's consciousness like a warning siren. The next stop was the Tactical Simulation Center, where Cadet Liam Chen was running a complex scenario. Zephyr watched through the observation window as the young man commanded a squad through a hostile urban environment. The simulation threw everything at him: ambushes, civilian casualties, equipment failures, betrayal from within his own ranks. Liam adapted to each catastrophe with frightening speed. When his virtual second-in-command was killed, he promoted a replacement instantly. When his communications went down, he used hand signals and runner systems that seemed antiquated yet brutally effective. When faced with a no-win scenario, he didn't freeze or surrender. He changed the scenario. Liam ordered his squad to collapse a building, creating a new avenue of approach the enemy hadn't anticipated. It was creative, ruthless, and completely outside the simulation's expected parameters. "He broke the rules," Zephyr observed. Eva smiled, a predatory expression that made Zephyr's chitinous plates shiver. "He found a solution the rules didn't account for. We encourage that. In real war, Commander, the rules are written by whoever survives." The philosophy was terrifying in its simplicity. In the strategy hall, Zephyr witnessed something that would haunt his dreams for years to come. Human cadets were studying historical battles, not just human conflicts, but wars from across the galaxy. They analyzed the Coalition's greatest victories and, more disturbingly, its defeats. "You study our battles?" Zephyr asked, a tremor in his voice. "We study everyone's battles," Eva confirmed. Sun Tzu, one of our ancient strategists, wrote, "Know your enemy and know yourself, and you need not fear the result of 100 battles." We take that seriously. A cadet raised her hand. "Lieutenant Martinez, in the Battle of Kepler 442, the Coalition forces had superior firepower but lost due to extended supply lines. If we were defending that system, couldn't we have used guerrilla tactics too?" "Exactly right, Cadet Morrison," Eva interrupted. "The defender doesn't need to win every engagement. They just need to make victory cost more than it's worth." Zephyr felt ice crystallize in his core. These humans weren't just studying military history as academic exercise. They were learning how to defeat everyone, including their allies. The final demonstration took place at the Survival Training Complex. Here, cadets were subjected to scenarios that simulated capture, interrogation, and isolation. Zephyr watched as young humans endured psychological torture, resisted interrogation techniques that would break most species, and maintained operational security even under extreme duress. Liam Chen was in one of the cells. 3 days into a resistance training exercise, he looked exhausted, dehydrated, and beaten. Yet when the interrogator, grizzled human instructor, demanded information, Liam recited only his name, rank, and identification number. "They volunteer for this," Zefta whispered. "They compete for slots in this program," Eva corrected. "Resistance training is considered essential. We prepare our people for the worst possible outcomes because we've lived through them. Our history is filled with prisoners who resisted, escaped, or died rather than betray their mission." As the tour concluded, Eva led Zefta to the Academy's memorial wall. Thousands of names were engraved in black stone, soldiers who had died in Earth's countless wars before humanity ever reached the stars. "We've been fighting each other for 10,000 years, Commander," Eva said quietly. "We've perfected every type of warfare imaginable: conventional, guerrilla, nuclear, biological, cyber, psychological. We've survived extinction events, both natural and self-inflicted. We've built weapons capable of destroying our own world, used them, and somehow found the wisdom to step back from the brink." She turned to face him, and Zefthor saw something in her eyes that transcended mere human emotion. It was the gaze of a species that had clawed its way up from savagery, that had stared into the abyss of its own extinction and chosen to survive. "We don't join the Galactic Coalition because we need protection, Commander. We join because we want peace. But if that peace ever breaks..." She let the sentence hang, unfinished but perfectly clear. Zefto returned to his ship that evening and immediately filed a classified report to Coalition Command. His recommendation was brief but urgent. Humanity must never be provoked to war. Their military academy trains children to think like strategists, fight like demons, and endure like machines. They study warfare the way other species study art. They don't glorify peace because they don't understand violence. They glorify peace because they understand violence better than any species I've encountered. He added one final note, his hand trembling as he entered it. "I toured their academy. I met their cadets. Lieutenant Eva Martinez and Cadet Liam Chen represent the average standard of their military education. If these are their students, I never want to meet their masters." The report was sealed and archived. Within 5 years, it would be required reading for every coalition military officer. The title would become infamous, The Human Problem, but by then, it would be too late. Humanity was already among the stars, and they had brought their 10,000 years of warfare with them.